I'm Sophia Goldberg. I'm a senior data scientist at Sky. I joined a couple of years ago. I came in from a mathematical modelling perspective, and that's how I got into data science. During my master's in my undergraduate, I did a master's in social network modelling, and after that I did a PhD. And beyond that, I knew I didn't want to continue in an academic setting. So when exploring opportunities, data science was definitely an up-and-coming thing at the time. And then I got into tech through that. I think there probably isn't one person, but there's probably sets of people that inspire me for different reasons. For product, there's a great book that I really like, written by a guy called Marty Kagan, and also another product owner at Facebook called Judy Zhu. They're really great, and they talk about how you can innovate in tech, even in large companies. That whole formulation process I've really enjoyed, architecting those solutions from a technical perspective then, once you've actually defined the problem. I think those are my favourite bits, and just working with technical, bright people. You know, Sky's good at hiring good people, so the people you work with are on their A game, and they're great to work with. I would describe my role as a senior data scientist as a role where it's a technical role, so lots of coding, and we work with product and other technical people to work out, essentially, understand user problems that our users face and try and formulate data science solutions out of those problems. Data science is definitely a growing, exciting field to work in machine learning and AI, the buzzwords you'll hear everywhere. But a lot of what's worked on is kind of coming out now. So for example, in natural language processing, which is one of the fields I'm quite excited by, there's been big changes and developments within. Really, when I started working on it, around 2018, it started, I think, a big change to move towards transformers, so a different way to model natural language problems and tasks like classification or sentiment analysis, things like that. So I think that's an area that really excites me. Also, kind of beyond data science and machine learning, I think within cloud solutions. So at Sky, we use Google Cloud services, so GCP and AWS, and they basically create tech solutions as services, so you can go along and plug and play with all of those solutions. I'd say cloud solutions, there's a lot of advancements, and also in natural language processing. Yeah, Sky is massive. When I first came here, the officers really impressed me. I really get why people stay at Sky for a really long time and grow their career, and take that on at Sky. And I've heard of people who leave Sky and come back to Sky. You know, I think it's a really great employer. So my first impressions were like, wow, this is an amazing campus, and people really love it here, and I understand why.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Rachel Eccleston, and I'm Group Director of Anti-Piracy at Sky. I joined 18 months ago from a legal and management consulting background. And I spent a lot of this time looking at how we keep our video platforms as secure as possible. So I'm really pleased to be here today to learn more about a different type of security threat that we all should be more aware of. So this spotlight session kicks off our customer experience stream. Service interruptions caused by cyber criminals can cost firms dear and severely harm customer reputation. So a question for all of you: how secure do you think your business is? You might want to think again after we meet our people hacker, who's going to explain the tricks of the trade, including something called social engineering. We'll then hear from Comcast Security Chief on the scale of the cybersecurity challenge and how machine learning is helping fend off attacks. And finally, we're going to get Gartner's take on the latest cybersecurity trends and threat levels. So next we're going to hear how Comcast is addressing the security challenge. And we caught up earlier with Nupur Davis. Nupur is the Chief Information Security Officer and Product Privacy Officer for Comcast Corporation and Comcast Cable. I don't know how she gets that on her business card. Nupur joined Comcast in 2016 from Intel, where she served as VP Global Quality at Intel Security Group. Before that, she was a visiting scientist and senior member of technical staff at the Carnegie Mellon University Software Engineering Institute. So really impressive stuff. So we're now going to watch a video and hear from Nupur.
We have a really wide scope, my team and I. So we look at everything from the security of our products, and these are, the devices in our customers' homes, the applications that our customers use, all of the enterprise applications, the back office systems. The scope is pretty big and pretty wide. When you think about the fact that we are the largest broadband provider in the United States, that we have tens of millions of customers who live their digital lives on our platforms, you can just imagine and understand how big that scale is of securing those platforms and those services and those devices. There's a central security group, which my team leads, and we have hundreds of cybersecurity professionals. And they are in all types of jobs and roles. So there are people who write code, there are data scientists, there are incident responders, there are threat hunters, there are people who develop tools, there are people who focus on how do you write secure code. So the skill set is really wide, and we literally have hundreds of professionals. We also have security operations centers that are 24/7, and they're geo-distributed, follow the sun model. So we always have people watching and responding to security events. But security is much, much, much bigger than just my team. In fact, at Comcast, we say and really believe that security is everyone's job. And so we have literally thousands, tens of thousands of engineers who build security in, and we work with them. We have our frontline teammates. We have everyone who uses a computer at Comcast, who talks to a customer, who builds a service, who writes a line of code. All of us are really working at cybersecurity. So if you think about businesses, the biggest trends that we're seeing are, one is around ransomware. Ransomware is becoming, bigger and bigger and impacting more and more businesses of all sizes. Everything from small businesses to schools to hospitals to, large enterprises. And the purpose of ransomware really is criminals who are trying to get money, from businesses of all types. The other trend that we're seeing is rise in nation states and their interest and exploitation of cybersecurity vulnerabilities. And again, nation states are interested, some are again interested in money, and some are interested in IP, intellectual property, and some are just conducting, espionage and looking at people of interest and so on. And the third trend that we're seeing is because of the kind of growth in the number of devices that people use in their homes. So this is more, the first two were more business, this is more in your home. And we actually have a product called xFi Advanced Security that is, free for all of our broadband subscribers who have our devices in their homes. And this product actually protects everything that is connected to the device and the Wi-Fi, in your home. And we have data that shows that in 10 months, in a typical 10 month, this product has blocked 6 billion threats, right, in our customers' homes. And we also learned really interesting things from this product, like the average number of devices in our customers' homes is 12, and it keeps growing. We begin with what we call building security in. And that means that, as we're building our products, as we're building our infrastructure, as we're building our service networks, as we're building our applications, we make sure that we're thinking about security right from the beginning. And this is like in our DNA. We really try to do this. So that's one way that we protect. And the other way is, what I just talked about, right? That we have products like X5 Advanced Security that will actually protect you in your home. Comcast Business also offers security products to its business customers that will do similar things, protect you from distributed denial of service attacks, protect you from going to bad websites and downloading malware, and protect your network. If you think about security, it is inherently a big data problem. Because the way that security works is that there is a lot of monitoring and watching. Literally millions of sensors deployed in millions of places that are constantly sending, information. Hey, this is what's happening here. This is what's happening here. And the problem becomes, well, how do you analyze that enormous amount of data and make sense out of it? So we have teams that use ML, machine learning. We have teams of data scientists, and they look for things like, what is normal behavior and what is anomalous behavior? And if something deviates from the normal, then is it something that we should pay attention to, or is it something that is just happening as happen chance? So that focus on machine learning and big data is really a huge focus for us. Yes, we really work with researchers and ethical hackers. We have an entire program dedicated to it. So we have bug bounty programs that we open up. And by the way, for those of you who may not know what ethical hackers or researchers, security researchers do, these are experts who try to hack into systems, and then they will work with a company and say, look, here is how I was able to do something. And then the company says, thank you, first of all. And then, there's usually some kind of, small reward associated with it. And then we actually go and fix that. Whatever the researcher finds. So we have a lot of internal testing and validation that we do. There are things called penetration tests, there are red teams, there are purple teams, there are all kinds of things that we do internally to constantly make sure that we're okay. But this external community is so valuable because they look at it with fresh eyes and really, really help us in finding small chinks in our defenses, and then help us to protect those.
So we're now going to hear from a global expert on broader security trends. To do that, we're joined by Robert Christian. Robert is the UKI Security and Risk Consulting Practice Lead at Gartner Consulting. Robert, the pandemic has accelerated hybrid working and the shift to the cloud. What impact has that had on the challenge faced by CISOs?
It has, and has it ever? So let's see if I can maybe show this. Here we go. So in addition to hybrid work, which is not going away, as I'm falling over, and of course, massive cloud adoption. Cloud is the name of the flavor of the month, and everybody is heading into the cloud. Gartner has identified actually 3 more trends that are certainly related. One is the digital supply chain attack, or attacks on digital supply chain, very much on the agenda of many of the hackers. And of course, and that sort of goes your direction, attacks on digital identities. That is a persistent security challenge we're seeing on top of hybrid work and cloud adoption. Of course, along with cloud adoption, you see an expanding attack surface. Your perimeter is no longer very, very clear and defined. It is everybody from everywhere at any time. And that is compounded by a significant skills gap in organization. At least that's what Gartner clients say. Impact, pretty much everything, a classic CISO agenda ranging from risk management over incident response. These challenges impact all of these, but predominantly threat and exposure management. Again, where is my perimeter? Then, of course, security monitoring and incident response. Should I pull the plug? Should I do this? Do I actually have this on my radar? Have I seen this part? Again, expanding attack surface. And hand in hand with that is something that we see a lot more with clients, a need for operational resilience. So these are the impacts that we see.
Thank you. Each year, Gartner publishes its top trends in cybersecurity. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of this year's trends and the latest threat levels? And then also, what advice are you giving your clients?
Absolutely. Gartner Research has identified 7 top trends in cybersecurity in 3 areas: responding to threat, rethink technology, and reframing practice. Now, I probably can talk about these until the cows come home. So I'm just going to focus on 2 of these, which I think will nicely correlate with what you said and what Nupur said. And that is, first of all, attack surface expansion. As already indicated, everybody from everywhere all the time. It's the local coffee place, it's the train, it's the home office, of course. And if we see that 60% of staff are currently working remotely, and very happy to, because we save ourselves the trip to London and the hour and a half on the train every day, Gartner's anticipating 18% of those workers will remain away from the office. I think it's actually going to be even more if you look at the current climate with energy crisis and what have you. So hybrid work is here to stay. The expansion of attack surface is going to increase, again, alongside with the cloud adoption. And if you take on top, and that is sort of what Nupur was hinting at, that in order to accommodate all this, you have more and more assets that are public-facing in a public cloud in order to facilitate this. So these trends we see certainly around attack surface expansion. And another one that we're noticing is vendor consolidation. And at this stage, we're looking at, I believe, hang on, I had a number here. I believe around 30% of current organizations will consolidate their security on one vendor. And that includes secure web gateways, cloud access security brokerage, if that means anything to anyone. So there is a focus on one single. Whether or not that is a good idea is the other question, but we see that trend. Now, there are recommendations. And I did have to make some notes on that because, again, taking those out that really matter. I believe, Gartner believes that security professionals need to create a defensible risk management-based security strategy. You need to increase your visibility and your risk mitigation techniques on critical business functions. And maybe the question to ask is not, are we safe? Are we safe? But maybe the question to ask, are we prepared? On top of that, you need to understand, despite the fact that it's ever increasing, you need to understand your threat landscape. You need to understand which threats may compound to risks, and you need to understand your attack surface, regardless of how tedious it may be. And that will allow you to detect blind spots in monitoring and policies, processes, procedures, and of course, products. So recommendation in that context are decentralize your decision making. Can you really afford that one single group of people in your organization, your security people, make all the decisions if there's so much going on? Or would it be better to decentralize and empower business stakeholders, other security people to make their own decision? You want to prioritize tools that allow you to interoperate beyond any platform, regardless of where it is. And so buzzwords at the moment are zero trust technologies. Buzzwords are, wonderful word, SASE, SASE, Secure Access Server Edge. These are technologies we're currently seeing that are very dominating. And lastly, try to anticipate your attack surface expansion.
Thank you. Lots to think about there. What about the no or low-tech threat that Jenny spoke of earlier? Where is people hacking and social engineering on your cyber risk radar?
Actually, on all of those that you see here, but predominantly, of course, on distributing decision beyond awareness. And you will see later on, I'll distribute that slide with all the research that you can look up. Gartner is Sky is a Gartner client, so you can access the research. Security is no longer, and I believe you couldn't agree more, the topic of one single group of geeks or specialists or what have you. It concerns everyone, top to bottom, bottom to top. And instead, maybe, of having these very repetitive security awareness sessions, don't leave your password on your monitor, what have you, you may want to create a security culture. You may want to show the employees, the staff, the contractors, what exactly it means, how they can contribute, and how that can be an addition and a contribution to the organization. It concerns everyone. So we see that specifically in Beyond Awareness, and of course distributing decisions. As said, you cannot make one single group responsible anymore. You need to distribute it across business leaders.
Thank you. Jenny, just to bring you in, you work with major corporations, but how seriously, in your view, is the people hacking threat taken versus the cyber threat?
Well, I think it's starting to be taken very seriously. I think a lot of corporations, can see that there's a human element to some of these things. And the important thing there is moving away from blaming people for making a mistake or being manipulated by what are essentially professional con artists, people who do 24/7 scamming and sort of hustles, if you like, online. Moving away from blaming people for being caught out and having a culture that means that you can say, look, I think I might have done something wrong, or I think something's in progress. You've got to know where to go, and you've got to know that you're going to be okay by saying that, and you're not going to be blamed or fired or whatever because you've fallen for something. And I think corporations are starting to pay a lot of attention to that.
Very interesting, thank you. I think we're running out of time, so we're just going to open up for one question to the floor. Any questions? We've got one at the back.
Pressure now, there's only one question. Question for Jenny. Fascinating presentation, thank you. How do you keep yourself secure online, and what is your own online profile and presence?
So I'm a small business, so I have to shout a lot to get any attention. And you can see I'm not exactly shy. But I follow my own advice, right? So there's the public side, and I choose my audience for that. The private side of things, I choose my audience for that. And I'm careful of what I say, That doesn't mean I'm infallible, and, there isn't the odd reflection in sunglasses of a glass of wine or something. But at the end of the day, I follow my own advice, and naturally all any of us can do. I'm not telling you not to go online, and I'm not telling you not to have a presence. I'm just saying, make it informed and just think about the consequences, and then go on and live your life online happily. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have time for today. It's been really, really interesting and slightly anxiety-inducing as well. But hopefully it sort of opened all our eyes to what more we can do, both in our professional lives, but also in our personal lives, to keep us and our businesses and our friends and family safe online. So a big, big thank you to Jenny and Robert for sharing your expertise and your insights with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.